This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we are your hosts and can talk. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we're back for our final Inspector Gadget episode.
Yeah.
They come so soon, they grow up so fast, and they're off on their own.
They're off using their go-go gadget helicopters to fly off and disrupt some other country into the sunset. Yeah,
truly.
Exactly.
So yes, Alexis will be covering our last for now Inspector Gadget episode. We do know what our next arc is, and I think y'all are going to be really excited. Yeah. The one thing I will say is, especially if you're around our age, if you're a millennial, I think this will really... we do from all time periods our cartoons. Exactly. We do a lot of, with these kind of 80s ones and 70s
Gen
ones.
Xers,
there's just so many that exist. And obviously we watched those too growing up, but this one's especially for us. Next arc, rather. So,
if you're a fan of cartoons in general, you'll like it. But if you are a millennial woman, you might especially like it. But anyone could enjoy it.
Will like it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's all we'll say for now. So get ready for next week when you be able to read the title of the episode and know what we're doing.
Exactly.
As usual. Yes. And until then, I'll just let you take us on this final ride with the dear old Uncle Gadget.
And as we say before several of these, or as we have said before several of these episodes of Inspector Gadget, stick with me, okay? Just hang in there,
if they made
folks.
it through the last one, they're all in.
Honestly, so true. And it's funny because as you were going through last week's episode, I was thinking wow, there's as per usual with us, some similar themes going on in my episode, kind of. Cool. And then you just kept going with other stuff, and I was like, never mind. Grace has outdone herself.
These are different episodes. Never mind.
Exactly. But today's episode, we're going to cleanse our palates of Inspector Gadget after this and prepare for our new arc, because today's episode
I thought you were saying we're cleansing our palates right now of Inspector Gadget. That's why I was like, what?
No. This episode is going to lead us to a clean sweep at the end of this arc, because the episode is called Gadget's Clean Sweep. And
okay.
I know, I was really trying to think of a clever way to
that's great.
Kind of lead into that. I didn't write it out beforehand, so that's what I get for trying to be witty on the spot. It doesn't always work. Thanks for calling me out on it, Grace.
It'll be squeaky.
It'll be squeaky clean. We're going to sweep the board clean and start a new show after this episode called Gadget's Clean Sweep. Great. And it is from season 2, episode 18 of good old Inspector Gadget.
Okay.
So the episode starts out with Gadget and Penny, much like the last episode I did. I think it was the last episode I did, at home playing darts. And of course, Brain, the lovable dog, is just taking his nice old nap, I think in a lounge chair near them, not even napping on the floor. He's laid out in a recliner,
curled
sleeping.
Up on the chair.
Not even.
Grandpa nap.
Yes. And during this game of darts between Gadget and Penny, Chief Quimby pops by to deliver today's assignment. And that assignment is that mad agents are going to 19th century London, and they are attempting...
Hold on.
Yep. Just hold that pen. And they are attempting to steal crown jewels. Stop them. Now, go ahead and say whatever you're going to say. What the fuck? That's what you're going to say. What?
Okay.
Yes. 19th century London, and yes, this show is from the 20th century.
Yeah, so now we're introducing time travel?
And I'm glad that you said that. Okay. I'm glad that you said that, because as it turns out, there was a whole time travel arc in season 2 of this show. Yes.
Didn't know, because we just jump around willy-nilly.
Exactly. We just jump around, and as I was doing some background research for this show, I was like, oh, this is the last in a series of, I think, 3 episodes in a row that have to do with time travel. And it's an arc
Okay.
where we see Dr. Claw, who, and I'll just get back to my script here because you said that at the perfect time. We see Dr. Claw then in his Transylvanian style castle of
Oh,
sorts,
yep.
playing billiards with his partner in crime for these three time traveling episodes,
Okay.
a woman by the name of Thelma Bodkin.
Whoa.
And
A woman villain.
a woman, yes, yet another. We don't get them often, but when we
Yeah.
do, boy oh boy, do
Okay.
they fuck up Dr. Claw's plans. That's for sure. So Thelma is like a middle-aged, kind of frumpier looking woman. Like she looks very
Okay.
matronly and has on like a long dress and like apron, I think.
Uh-huh.
She's got red hair that's kind of pulled into a bun on top of her head, a little messy bun. And like not as a diss at all to her, just a literal general observation when you first see her is
Okay.
that like at first she has no discernible skill or special talent that would like give her like the attention of Dr. Claw or
Okay.
give her special status as like an associate of Dr.
Because
Claw.
I
She looks
automatically
like a
assumed that
maid, not even
I
a like a ooh sexy maid. Oh, maybe Dr. Claw's into her. No, she looks like a grandmother maid.
because I was gonna assume that she was the one who invented the time machine, and that's why she was here.
hmm And
Okay.
so
Okay.
put a slight short pin in that.
Okay.
So Dr. Claw orders Thelma to use her time machine to go back
Okay.
to 19th century London to eliminate Gadget's great grandparents, Char and Chimney Gadget, who he has been
Char and Chimney.
researching.
I wonder what their jobs are about to be in good old London.
In this episode of Gadget's Clean Sweep in London,
I
Char
forgot
and
the
Chimney
name.
Gadget.
Chimney Shrew.
Yes. They lean into the chimney sweep and
Okay.
shit in this episode.
Okay,
And yes,
and we
so
love a timeline fuck up
we
plot.
do. We do, or the
Okay.
thought of one. And so yeah, a few
Okay.
things here to unpack. Char and Chimney Gadget, you took care of that for me, so I don't need to mention that little
Insane.
note that I
Okay.
typed. That is what it is. But also the fact that Dr. Claw's idea here is, hey, let's go back in the past and kill his great grandparents so that he's never born.
You fool.
We all know it doesn't actually work that way in the real
No.
life. Who's to
Nope.
say that some other police inspector for Metro PD wouldn't get into
Wouldn't be
some
a cyborg.
serious accent and then become a cyborg and then also be after
And who
Dr.
says
Claw?
you'll even be born, Dr. Claw?
Exactly. We don't
Yeah.
know. This whole butterfly effect could fuck up a lot of things for a lot of people. We're
Yes.
not sure.
Okay.
And so the third thing here to just kind of wrap this whole thing up, or at least this little Dr. Claw's mission here or his
Hmm.
scheme up, is that yes, upon further mild research on Thelma Bodkin, I learned that apparently, as you said, her specialty is time traveling. She appears
Okay.
to have created this device. But again, she looks like super normal. She's not like a scientist. She's not
Yeah.
some very sneaky,
Kind of came
conniving,
across
clever
it.
person. Yeah, she just
Okay.
found it somewhere. She
You
was a
go,
maid
Thelma.
cleaning some scientist's house and then came across it and then stole it, maybe. I
Hell
don't
yeah.
know.
Or she
Yeah.
made it too.
Maybe, you know what? Yeah, we shouldn't
She's
discount
humble.
her. She
Yeah.
is, exactly. And so maybe she did, but she does appear in those three episodes of Inspector Gadget, like I said, that all involve time travel. And in
Mhm.
each episode, Dr. Claw is sending her out to the past to go fuck something up for Gadget before
Cool.
he's born to try to like stop him from being born or
Okay. So
eliminate
that
his ancestors.
didn't work the last two times.
It
Gadget is
didn't
still
work the
here.
last two times. Third time
Interesting.
is the charm, though, Grace.
You
Maybe,
right.
maybe.
Duh.
So
Probably.
while he's there,
Definitely.
absolutely. And speaking of charms, while Thelma is there in 19th century London, Dr. Claw orders her to also steal the crown jewels, as he has yearned for them ever since he was a child.
You might
And
as well.
so while you're there, two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
And this is now, I think, maybe one of two things that we've learned about Dr. Claw's childhood in all of our episodes of
Oh, right. The
Inspector
sled.
Gadget. The sled. He wanted that trick sled when he was a kid, and he also apparently wanted the crown jewels. So a man of many interests. You
he was
will.
like, if I ask for the moon, my parents will land among the stars and give me a
Exactly.
sled. And then they didn't even
I
fucking
want the
give me a
crown jewels.
sled.
I know they didn't even get that. I think he just got coal, which he deserved
I
probably. So,
mean, yeah, the parents saw the future here. They were like, we're also time
mhm.
travelers. We know what you become.
Exactly.
Nah,
Thelma
cool.
Botkin is the one who gave his parents the time traveling device.
Yeah, she
And
was like, you're gonna want to give him coal every year.
yeah, and I mean, I guess I'll say it now because I don't think I typed it in here and I don't want to forget to say it. But like on
Yes.
Thelma Botkin getting this job, like, okay, maybe she created the time machine, but my whole theory, because the vibe she gives off with Dr. Claw this episode is like, I don't know, maybe she was like his babysitter or something at one point, and like he just knows that she's good at like keeping him in check and like doing stuff for him because he's like, hey, you want to help me do this real quick? Like
Is
figure
she
out how to
the
find this figure finish this time machine and then boom, like I'll pay you as much as you want forever. You don't even need to like change my diapers anymore,
is she the
okay?
Alfred? Is that Bruce
Somewhat
Wayne's
vibes, yeah.
guy?
Alfred Pennyworth, yeah.
Yeah.
In a way,
She's the
like I kind of
Alfred.
see that vibe. Alfred
Okay, okay.
though is a
Just
lot
not,
more of a badass.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I was to
like
say, just not quite. She's like the
as
real
she's
life
not as
version of
tactical.
Alfred.
Exactly, exactly. Like we would be so lucky if our butlers could all have like tactical experience and know how to like create healing serums and like bulletproof
Yeah,
costumes. Thelma isn't
everything.
quite on that level
Yeah.
like Alfred is, but like she's getting there. She can at least create a time
Yeah.
machine and like boss
Yeah.
some goons
At
around. So,
least.
at a minimum, it's the least we can ask for. So before we jump though into this crime and the pseudo investigation into it that
Yes.
Inspector Gadget will not do,
Mm,
let's get our bearings straight and
please.
talk a bit about the crown jewels and the place where they
Yes.
are kept. So again,
Yes.
hitting
Yes.
on some
Yes.
artifacts, some cultural items, etc.
It's
And I
kind of in a museum
remember
now. I don't
kind
know if it
of
was in the
exactly.
19th century, probably. I don't know.
No, not it was not. I won't get super into that, but it's they've hopped around in
Okay.
some other to some different locations over time.
Cool. Hell yeah.
And so I remember you talking about the crown jewels a little bit in an episode of Rescue Rangers that we did
Oh,
because
yes, because they were the
the
Tower of
episode,
London.
yeah, well, they were at the Tower Bridge, I thought, not at the actual tower. Maybe they were at the
No,
Tower
they
of
were in the
London.
tower because the
Were they?
mouse
Okay.
ghost was there.
Okay, that's right. Okay. And I was like, damn, I should have, as we were getting ready to record today, I was like, fuck, I never re-listened to that
But I don't think
episode,
I
and I
talked a
probably
lot
should
about the
have.
jewels. I think I talked about
Yeah,
the deaths around the Tower of London.
that's what I remember too. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
remember Grace talking, going into any of the stuff that I have down here, so we're gonna
Yeah.
go
I
with
think
it,
I
and she
was,
can jump in if she's like, we already talked about that,
no,
Alexis,
I think I
which
was just like the
please do.
ghosts of
But
Tower of London.
yes,
Let's talk.
okay. That's like what I remembered. But
Great.
again, I was like, shit, I should probably go
You know
back and
what? It's
listen.
gonna feel new to
And
me
I
because I don't even
forgot.
remember what I said. So
There,
I'm
there you go.
ready.
This is the first
Tell
time
me.
learning about the Tower of London for both of us.
Yeah.
So, the Tower of London, officially called His Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London,
Oh,
is a historic citadel and castle on the north bank of the River Thames in central London, England.
okay.
Famously, among many other things, the Tower of London is known for housing the crown jewels of the United Kingdom.
Mhm.
And so the crown jewels are kept in none other than the Jewel House at the Tower of
Real
London.
subtle,
Clever,
everyone.
super
Yeah.
subtle. They're so intelligent, that royal family. So, but what's interesting about the crown jewels is that they actually include the coronation regalia and
Oh, great.
vestments worn by British monarchs and a large variety of other like very expensive jewel
Yeah.
encrusted items, I guess. So in total, the collection contains around 140 total items and
Okay.
23,578 stones. So like the
That's a
diamonds,
lot.
the sapphire, the whatever, all the super, there are
Okay.
so many different ones listed on the Wikipedia page. I'm like,
This
I'm not going to go into that,
this
but
so makes sense
it's
as to why Dr. Claw wants this.
exactly. We know
Yes.
this man loves the bling. He loves
Yep.
bedazzled things. He loves
Yep.
shiny jewelry. So the newest addition to the crown jewels is Charles the Third's stole. So current King Charles, which and a
Oh.
stole is basically it's like it's a religious wear, like garb or
Oh,
vestment, the like
yeah.
long white kind of draping dress cloak that you see
Yeah.
priests and church leaders wearing with the red scarf kind of around their neck.
Yeah.
So that from Charles
Oh.
III was added just 2 years ago in
Is it
2023.
bedazzled or is it just
The
plain?
scarf definitely has some like gold
Okay. I was like, you can't just put a piece of
flickering on.
cloth in
Yeah,
there.
no,
That's for the
that's plain. That
cloth
that's I
room.
was gonna say that sounds like a poor person's cloth.
Yeah.
Like, no, the
Ew.
king, please, the
It
king
better
who is also like the supreme leader of the Church of England,
yeah.
basically.
It
No,
better be
he
full of
needs more.
rubies.
Yes.
Okay.
So, in many cases, when we think of the crown jewels, probably thanks to cartoons like Rescue Rangers and Inspector
Yes.
Gadget, because I think they did still have the crown jewels. They did, right? In that
Yeah,
episode of
yeah.
Rescue Rangers, yeah. But when we think of it, we just think of like the one big
Yes, the
crown. I feel
giant,
like
yeah.
usually, and like in
And
this
like a
episode,
scepter.
yeah, maybe like a scepter or one or two things. But again, there's 140 items that are considered
Yeah.
the crown jewels of the United Kingdom. So the crown that we see in particular is probably St. Edward's crown. And St. Edward's crown is the
Okay.
coronation crown of the crown jewels of the United Kingdom. So it's probably the thing that's like the most publicly facing because that's what the
Yeah.
king and queen wear when they're coronated.
Yeah.
And this crown was named after, and boy, oh boy, can I not wait to do more research on this guy. It
Tell
was
me about
named
this thing.
after Saint Edward the Confessor. He was
Do
up there
not tell
telling
him your
all sorts of
secrets.
things.
Do not. He is not a steel trap.
He has the tea and he will spill.
And he
He
is,
will
whether you
spill.
want him to or not. You're
Whether
getting
you
burned with
and
that tea.
you know the Brits do not want him to spill that tea.
He's going to
Historically, they got
every
very
afternoon
mad when
tea.
some people spilled tea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And heads are gonna roll.
They will roll. And I did not, even though he's a saint, I know I should have put more stuff on him in
It's
here, but
okay.
there's
It's
so much
okay.
more I want to talk about with the crown jewels that I was like,
Yes, we have to focus.
Edward, buddy, we're coming back to you one day, one way or another.
We will find him. He will find us
We'll
again. We
be
will find
back
him. We're meant
somehow.
to
I'm
be.
sure there will be another episode about the crown jewels or like
Yes.
King Edward's crown or St. Edward's crown.
Amazing.
So, versions of this crown have traditionally been used to crown English and British monarchs at their coronation since the 13th century. And it is
Okay.
now normally on public display in the Jewel House at the Tower of London.
I think I've seen
And
it. Fun fact.
have you?
Yes, I've been to the
Okay.
Tower of London.
Well, then.
But
So
I
you
apparently
probably
only focused on the ghost when I was there, based on my last covering of this.
you're like chasing invisible objects, and so everyone else is like looking at the beauty of all
That,
these jewels and the crowns and the
and I'm like,
scepters.
where are the murdered
Where are
people?
the ghosts?
Yeah.
So the original crown was a holy relic because it is connected to the religious aspect of the
Mm.
royal family and all of that. And it was kept at Westminster Abbey, and
Okay.
which was Edward the Confessor's burial place. And that was
Got it.
until the regalia were either sold or melted down. And this reminds me of your episode from last week a little bit, when
Oh.
Parliament abolished the monarchy in 1649 during the English Civil War. And there was a
Oh.
lot of kind of destruction of some of the monarchy's old
That
properties.
makes
Some of it
sense.
was maybe stolen and sent
Oop,
other places,
oop,
and just said, oops, oops.
oop,
It's like it's always
oop.
a civil war or a coup that
We
just
always find
totally
it.
destroys artifacts and cultural items. So,
Oopsies.
but the current St. Edward's crown was made
Yeah.
for Charles II in 1661, and it is a
Okay.
22 karat gold, 12-inch tall crown that weighs 4.9 pounds, so about
Ow.
5 pounds.
Do you think
I
they have to train for that? Like before the
and
coronation?
it's decorated with 444 precious and fine gemstones. So yes, I
Whoa.
had that same reaction. Like that is fucking heavy. Apparently, and I didn't put down what years it was, but there was a long period of time where they stopped using this crown during the
It's too
coronation
heavy.
because it was so heavy, but they brought it back, I want to say actually in like the 1800s. So since
Wow.
then, yeah, since like it was maybe like 1830s or something like that. Don't quote me on that, double check, but
Yeah.
since then they've used it. And I was like, Charles the Third, look, buddy, we've all seen him. Okay. I'm not
That
saying
neck's gonna
anything that
snap
isn't.
underneath that. crown.
I'm not saying anything that isn't publicly viewable and obvious here. He does not look like someone who could support 5 pounds on his
On
head.
his head,
But you
no.
think too, they are kind of like sitting funny with it. Like you can tell they have to
They're
kind of
so
like walk,
uncomfortable
and yeah, it has to be because I was like, okay, when you think about it, you're like 5 pounds, okay, that's fine.
but
But
on your
like
head.
5 pounds on your head is
Yes,
different.
that's
Yeah.
so much different. Damn.
So
Okay.
yeah, crazy. So obviously, such items like the crown, the scepters, the regalia, all this stuff would be the desire of many, especially of those with sleight of hand and some of the more
Ooh.
nefarious folks living in
Let
18th,
me hear
19th
about
century,
them.
whatever century of London back then.
Yes.
And so, over the course of history, there were a lot of attempts, both successful and unsuccessful, to steal the
Successful
crown jewels.
attempts.
And
Okay.
or other coveted royal regalia. The most famous of these that I could find, and again, wish I could do a deeper dive, but we got a lot of other stuff to cover, so I'll just kind of
Yes.
give very broad strokes and encourage
Okay.
everyone else to research this man if you've never heard of him.
Okay.
But it was the attempt by the scoundrel Thomas Blood, as many
Thomas
Thomas
Blood.
Blood, right? Like,
Heck,
oh, do tell
what's he
me
up to now?
more. What's
Where's
he
he
doing
haunting?
now? He's very much good question. Shoot, I should have written down where he died. I still have his
Probably Tower
Wikipedia
of
page
London.
open, but yeah, somewhere in the United Kingdom. And
Okay.
so he attempted this in May of 1671. And so Thomas Blood,
1671?
sorry, 1671. Yeah, what did
No,
I
that's
say?
what you said,
1770.
but
Yeah.
I was just like,
Oh, okay,
oh,
yeah.
damn, okay.
Yeah, long time ago,
Yeah.
1671. So actually this was right after or shortly after the new crown was made,
Yeah.
because the current crown. So this was the current crown that he
So this is the first
basically
attempt.
almost stole. Yes, so it might have been because that was 1661, so 10 years later.
Ooh,
Eh, I'm sure someone else tried to by then, but
this is the
he
first
actually
good
got
attempt.
hands on it. Yes, the first good
Okay.
attempt.
Okay.
And so Thomas Blood was an Anglo-Irish military officer. He was kind of raised in somewhat high society, I believe. His
Okay.
father was maybe a member of like parliament, or not parliament. I don't know what they would call it back then, but I think his father was a politician. I think his mother was
Okay.
like well known too. So he kind of came up well. He was in the military. He was an officer. He had rank. And basically, again, I'm not going to get into the whole story because I listened to a couple videos on it, and it's actually like it's a long story to
Okay.
follow because
Okay.
you have to like set the stage on who this guy is.
Yes,
But
for sure.
basically, he was able to infiltrate going into the tower in costume. He brought some associates with him. He was able to go in over multiple days and kind of like get comfortable with the tower and
Oh my God,
pretending
he's
that he was someone who was
infiltrating it.
paying to see exactly because back then you could pay to like see and hold, I think, the actual crown jewels. Early
This is
days of
why they got rid
capitalism.
of it. This is
Yeah.
why they got rid of it because
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah. And he eventually was able to like sneak in, get them. He made it out of the tower, but he did not make it past the iron gates before he
Ah,
was caught and apprehended. I think he was fired upon. He was like kind of attacked by some of the what are they called? The yeomen warders or whoever, the tower
yeah.
guards who protect all of the crown jewels and everything and just the whole building. Um, and eventually, what's most interesting is you would think, how dare he, this scoundrel, this man who
Huh.
came from high society, so to
That's not the
speak,
first thing I was
and
thinking
he
at
had a
all,
criminal record
obviously.
before this. Oh,
I was
he
like,
had
hey,
a
get
criminal
him.
record before this. So,
Okay.
like, what is very surprising is that following his capture, he would go on to be pardoned by King Charles.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's no clear consensus by historians on why. There's only speculation.
Okay, let
And
me
so a
hear it.
few of my favorite theories for why historians believe he was pardoned
Uh-huh.
was one that they thought that Thomas Blood was able to flatter the king up a bit because
Oh, butter him
apparently
up.
butter him up, because apparently there was a time where Thomas Blood claimed to have seen King Charles bathing in the Thames and wanted to, I believe, either attack him or murder him. But he said
Oh.
that when he told the king that when he saw him, he was like in awe basically by his handsomeness and how
Oh, that's what he
he
told
was
him.
he looked so much stronger than I actually believed him to be because apparently King
Uh,
Charles was like really short or something and was like sensitive
oh,
about it. So he
really
was
talked
just
him up.
buttering him up, playing
Okay,
a good
okay.
game like scoundrels tend to do.
Yes.
Another theory says that the king actually had like I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that he actually had a thing for scoundrels like Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, like he loved a little bad boy who maybe like came
Okay.
from higher society or came from like
Yes.
noble society and then
Yeah, it
still
was
would
still a
like
little
live
bad.
on the edge a little bit.
Okay, the
Yeah,
little rebel
he wanted to invent the motorcycle so that Thomas Blood could hop on and he
with his
King
leather
Charles could
jacket.
hop on the sidecar and they'd ride off
No, he'd hop on the
along the
back.
Thames. Yeah, he'd be holding on to his waist and everything. This
Right
is
off
what
into
King
the
Charles II
sunset.
wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third, I think, and final one that I've put down here, speculation or theory from historians, is that
Mhm.
the king, and this one is probably the most likely, given
Ah,
especially we know how humans work even today. The
uh-huh.
king probably thought that arresting Blood would create an uprising among his followers. So he
Yeah.
kind of thought that Thomas Blood had like this cult following, and there was obviously always been sentiments against the crown and people like
Yeah.
wanting, more
Especially so fresh
democracy,
after the Civil
etc.
War, the monarchy's
Exactly.
back.
Exactly. And so he
Okay.
thought that they would see Blood as a sort of martyr in this revolution against the crown, and that would it would either lead to like chaos and unrest among the people, or it would
Uh-huh.
lead to more people trying to imitate his crimes in the future. So he was
Uh-huh.
like, eh, we'll just pardon him, which yeah, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of
Interesting.
truth to all three of these
Yeah, I like that two out
if
of
we're
the
being
three
real.
did have to do with flirting.
With
So,
flirting, right? We're not going to forget that, okay?
yeah, that's the
We can't
majority
just
of
just
them.
count that. Literally.
Yeah,
I mean, of the ones that
that
I
you
put in.
cherry
But to
picked.
be fair, I think the Wikipedia page only had one other one and I was like, that's boring. Let's go
Boring.
with these three.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, the third one could also kind of be flirting because like the king saw that Thomas Blood was like super popular, maybe. So like in a way, he's like got to
True.
be impressed by that. I don't know.
Okay.
But whatever the case may be, today, security measures at the Jewel House are obviously much different from those days. Nowadays, the crown jewels are actually protected by bomb-proof glass, and
Oh.
they're in a very thick, vault door, behind a very thick vault door.
Uh-huh.
Um, there is a lot more security that you have to go through. Like the tower guards are always on
Yeah.
duty. The yeomen are out there during the day. They're the one beefeaters, if you will. They're the ones
Yes, yes,
wearing the
yes.
like all red fits and everything. And then apparently they use like reserve military officers basically to fill these
Oh,
spots. So it's like, hey, if you're not fighting overseas right now, come protect the crown jewels for
damn.
our, the king slash queen.
Okay.
Yes. And today the crown jewels are closely watched, or the visitors to the tower are closely watched by more than 100 hidden CCTV cameras that are throughout the Tower of London.
Damn. We know
And
London
an
loves the CCTV
they
every
love
corner.
surveillance. Oh, yeah. And there are an estimated 2.5 million people who visit the crown jewels or the jewel
Whoa.
house at the Tower of London each year.
That's
So,
crazy.
isn't that a lot? Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it would be as easy to sneak such items out of this building under these circumstances with
Yeah.
like all those people there, all those CCTV cameras, the bomb-proof
Yeah.
glass, the vault doors, all that. Yeah. It's crazy. So, anyways, so yeah,
Damn.
that's what the crown jewels are, where they're held.
Cool.
This current security landscape of them, none of
Damn.
this seems to matter to Dr. Claw. He doesn't care.
It's the 19th
He's like,
century. They don't have
exactly.
CCTV.
He does know a lot about CCTV because he's the one who created it. They don't have it
Dude,
yet
straight up. It
at the
actually
Tower of
stands for
London.
claw circuit TV, not closed.
Television. Yeah. It's actually DCCTV. He just
Yeah.
like hacked the D off. It didn't flow off the tongue as
Yeah,
well.
it's a little easier. It's too long.
So before the Gadget crew embarks on this time traveling mission that they've been
Uh-huh.
given by Chief Quimby, they are told to go and visit Metro City Police HQ, where they can
Okay.
talk with a Professor von Silkstein,
That is a
who
name.
It is quite a name.
Okay.
Who is like the main scientist for the Metro City PD and knows everything they need to know about how to operate this time machine. That again, after watching this episode, I learned they've used in all three of these episodes.
Cool.
And Professor von Silkstein is also in all three of these episodes, so he is like their in-house time machine expert.
Got it.
And so Von Silkstein is a much smarter man than Gadget, thankfully, because Gadget has no idea what he's doing.
Oh
And
no.
he's tall, skinny, older guy with like white hair but bald on top and this very
Uh-huh.
thick white mustache and thick glasses. And of course, a
Okay.
lab coat. So we know that he's a
I was gonna
scientist.
ask. Good.
And a fun fact about this guy, Professor von
Yes.
Silkstein, according
Uh-huh.
at least to like the Inspector Gadget wiki page, and I need to go back and rewatch an episode of this with him that I have watched before but didn't pick up on this.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, so he's in 5 episodes of this show, three
Okay.
of which, like I said, have to do with time travel. So it's this one and the other two ones with Thelma Botkin.
Hmm.
And the wiki page says that he might be the same professor who actually gave Gadgets his gadgets.
Oh, I could see
Yeah,
that if you got the surgery
same.
at Metro City or within
Exactly.
like
Metro,
the
the
force or whatever.
headquarters. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Okay,
that's
I
how it
could
happened
see
in
that.
RoboCop. Like it happened in the
Yeah,
police force, I'm pretty sure, where they did
yeah,
the surgery. So I was like, okay,
I could see
interesting.
that.
And it does make me want to go back and because I've seen the very first episode he was in, but I guess I didn't like piece two and two together
Yeah,
about like, oh, this is the same guy who like I don't remember them saying that, but
yeah.
it's worth
Okay.
saying that perhaps we're meeting the guy who created Gadget here.
I mean, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, why
That'd
not?
be
I
a
mean, it's
yeah,
got to
inside
be
job
some
there.
scientists there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
And so Von Silkstein informs Gadget that he only has 4 hours to complete the mission. And after that, the time machine that he's sending them off in will automatically return to the lab with or without him. So it's a time
Oh,
sensitive, time traveling mission.
that's not what you
Yes.
want. Okay.
And not for Inspector Gadget at all. No.
No.
And Gadget takes this opportunity with the professor to show him photos of his great great grandparents, Char and Chimney. And he
Okay.
says, hey, I have these grandparents that live here or that lived in 19th century London. Maybe you could send us straight to them to start our investigation. They were believed to live on the north side, I believe, of the River Thames. And they
Okay.
later immigrated to America. He's given the whole biography, and
Okay.
Silkstein's like, okay, cool, yep, cool, yeah, I'll send you there. Stop, get
We
in.
have
Let's
four
go.
hours.
Come on.
We
We have
still
four
only have
hours.
four
We got to get
hours.
started. Yes.
Yeah.
So the professor programs this time machine and it takes them to that location in 19th century London. And the Gadget group arrives on the fog-filled docks of the Thames.
Ooh, okay.
But little do they know that the Mad Agents, aka Thelma, and two local Brits down on their luck that she's
Oh
hired,
no. Oh no.
that
Okay.
these agents are on their tails, on Gadget's tail.
Okay.
And Penny, once they like get on the docks and they get out of the time machine, she gets out and she kind of like pushes this time machine back into a corner on these docks and covers it up with some crates and some boxes to like keep it hidden and out of public
Hmm.
view. And then the three of them start walking along the docks to find wherever it is that Char and Chimney may live. I
Okay.
guess they're like, we got to find them before we do this mission for whatever reason. Because I
Yeah.
don't think they know at this point that Dr. Claw is planning on killing
The
Char and Chimney.
grandparents
They just know
or
that he's
great
trying to
grandparents.
steal, yeah, the great
Yeah.
grandparents. They just know that he's trying to steal the crown jewels. So
Right.
it's just
Right.
by coincidence that they're like, hey, well, let's go find our family before we go do
Okay.
this
Yeah. He just needed a couch to stay on.
to take a nap on or something real
Yeah.
quick. Again, 4 hours, buddy. You got
Oh,
four
great.
hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
I've already forgotten, just like he has.
Then he's forgotten. If we've forgotten, then he definitely has.
Okay. Great.
So from behind a shady looking alley corner, and again, it's very foggy and like kind of gross out.
Hmm.
On these docks from behind an alley corner, we see Thelma and these goons kind of like keeping an eye on Gadget and Penny. They see that they've
Okay.
arrived. And Thelma instructs the goons to find and finish off Char and Chimney Gadget with no slip ups. And
Okay.
she hands them a bag of money, much to their pleasure. Like I said, they were very down on their luck.
Mm.
And she tells the goons that she'll probably, or not that she'll probably, I don't know why I just said that she will double their pay if they
Ah.
eliminate Gadget too.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
And I just gotta say that all of the British characters in this episode,
What did these
they
French
did,
writers do to him?
I will say they actually did a decent job. Like it's obvious that they're probably
Okay.
not British people, but they are actual like British type of accents that they're using here, which at this point,
Uh-huh.
if they got this one wrong, I would be like, what the hell, you guys? It's right there. It's like
Y'all,
an
come on.
hour away. If you can't get that right, come on. It's not even
Yeah.
an hour away by ferry. So I will say they're hilarious. I don't know. I don't think we ever learn the names of the goons, but they're the two that we hear the most, along with Char and Chimney, who we'll meet in a
Uh-huh.
moment. Because Thelma does not have a British accent. She's just
Right.
speaking like normal American English.
Uh-huh.
But the two goons, one of them is obviously short and stocky, and the other one is
Tall
tall
and
and
lanky.
skinny, a
Good.
la 101
Every,
Dalmatians.
yes.
Literally super
Every good duo.
cliche. They have on like very drab clothing. It's like
Hmm.
suits that are very tattered, and one of them
Okay.
has on like a oh, it's like a Newsies hat,
Yes,
maybe,
yes, yes, yes.
and
I
then
know what
the
you're
other
talking
has on
about.
a very tall top hat for whatever reason,
Because that's how I feel like that's how I
in a
know that
purple
they're down
suit.
on their luck is because of the top hat, like a tattered top hat.
Exactly.
Like one
Exactly.
shoe is not fully done, like put
Yes.
together. It kind of flops when they walk. Yeah, okay, I see
Mm-hmm.
this perfectly. Maybe a
Mm-hmm.
fingerless glove, if they had thought of that, would have
Yes,
fit
the
in
ends of the
perfectly.
jacket are frayed, maybe a patch or
Yes,
something sewn on here or there or on a
absolutely.
knee. Exactly.
Yep,
They will do
cool.
anything for this bag of money that Thelma is showing them.
Yes.
And the short, stocky one is always talking like this. He's got a very raspy throat, raspy accent. He's just talking like this all the time. And then And the
Uh-huh.
tall, skinny one has a much the voice actor for the tall, skinny one was not as committed to the part as the shorter guy was, because he's just always talking like this the whole time, and he says the same line over and over in
Oh
this
no.
episode. That's it. He just says like, as long as it keeps us out of trouble with the bobbies,
Oh, with
which
the bullies.
I think are
That's
like
the
the
cops.
police.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like he literally just says that over and over. And
Oh
the
my
other short,
God.
stocky guy is clearly like the more mastermind, quote unquote, of the
Yeah.
two.
That's
So
so funny. Okay.
they're very
I
hilarious
can't wait.
characters. Yes, you will love them. And these goons, they leave this alley corner after talking with Thelma, and they confront Gadget as he's walking along the docks with Penny and Brain towards them.
Hmm.
But like I said, it's super foggy. They're right on the river, right on the docks, and it's London. It's infamous for the fog there, I guess.
Hmm.
And so it's a little too hard for Gadget to see who they are or what exactly they're doing.
Okay.
And so they try to attack him, but he thinks that they're just like, I don't know, I forget what he says they're doing, but I think he's just trying to like shake their hand or just be like kind or like, oh no, you bumped into me or something. What's
Yeah.
this? And it fails. They end up in the water, and Gadget is just like, oopsies, like, do you need help getting out of here? And
Uh-huh.
then the like bell, Big Ben tolls or something, and Penny's like, Gadget, we gotta go, we gotta hurry
Four
up. We're
hours.
already an hour done. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So the fog clears up a bit, and Penny and Gadget and Brain keep walking down the docks while these goons are just like trying to like pull themselves out of the water.
Uh-huh.
And they do eventually spot Char and Chimney Gadget approaching them on the
Okay.
docks.
Okay.
And the reason they know, of course, they have the photos of them that Gadget was showing Professor Von Silkstein earlier, but they
Uh-huh.
also realize it's them because Chimney Gadget, Gadget's great grandfather, literally looks exactly like Gadget, but with like a chimney
Oh,
sweep, like
funny.
attire on. That's
Uh-huh.
literally it.
Wait,
And
what
he
was
does
this
also
one's
have a
name? Was
British
this
accent.
Char?
This is Chimney. So his great grandmother is Char and his great
Okay.
grandfather is Chimney. I'm
Okay,
pretty
got it.
sure. Um, and so Gadget, he eagerly runs towards them to introduce himself. But while he's doing that, again, it is a bit foggy. He trips over some barrels that he
Oh
can't
no.
see and he tumbles right into them instead of hugging them
The
and
butterfly
basically
effect
scares them to
begins.
death. So it begins, which thank you for saying, because at this point in the episode, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get his great grandparents killed. He's going to be the one to
Yes.
do it, not Dr.
Yes.
Claw.
They're
Like,
gonna
a
fall in
kid.
that water. They don't know how to fucking swim.
Exactly. Right.
Done.
Oh God. It's any minute now. Like we're gonna see Gadget just fade away. And if Gadget fades away, well, we don't know the direct
Penny,
relation with Penny, but
brain,
does she fade? Somehow they have to
probably.
all. Yeah.
Yes. Not good.
So he scares them to death basically by accidentally tackling them into this pile of crates in an alley
Great.
corner. and he introduces himself as their great grandson, which,
Oh, he didn't even have a different story?
nope. Nope, 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 nope. He said, "Don't you recognize me? I'm your great grandson." And they take a close look at him and they start to, though, they're like, "What? This man's crazy." With their in
What
their
is he
little
talking
British
about?
accent. This man
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know. We don't know this gov. Like they also say the word gov like a million times during this episode, so get ready for them.
What is this, governor? Amazing.
And they do realize that there are some common traits. For one, Char believes that he has either hair or an ear. It's hard to tell with her accent. Like, he does have hair like our cousin Artie, doesn't he?
Good Cockney accent. Barely
Yeah.
understand it. Hell yeah.
And
Okay.
then, like I said, he does look literally 100% identical to Chimney, other than the outfits that they're wearing.
Mhm.
So they quickly believe him and say, well, then, any family member of ours, we got to go get a pint. So they
Okay.
go
Good.
off to a pub nearby to get a beer. Literally, like they say beer in the episode
Okay.
and
Hey.
everything. Like this calls
Hey.
for a beer or a pint or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And they decide to just go and spend some time together at this pub. And so
Okay.
Gadget trots off with his grandparents and tells Penny and Brain to just stay put, stay on the docks where it's safe.
Can you
And
guys get the jewels for me? You
yeah,
protect those, okay?
I'm gonna go get sloshed with my great grandparents real quick.
Pick me up when it's time to go. Thanks.
Yeah. Penny, you're driving, right? You're the
You're
DD
driving
or
this time
Brain, one of you
machine.
two, right? Yeah.
You
So
got it.
you got this. And so he's like, Penny, Brain, stay here where it's safe and where we didn't just basically get mugged by two London thugs sneaking
Twice.
around in the fog
Yeah.
2 seconds ago. And I'll be back after I get this beer. And in ultimate cliche fashion, Big Ben tolls again, and Penny looks up and realizes that an hour has, or more than an hour, I think, has already passed at this
God.
point.
Oh
And so she
no.
just looks at Brain as Gadget and his great grandparents casually stroll down the street, and she says, Brain, we better head to the Tower of London. I don't think Gadget's gonna remember about the time constraints we're under.
He doesn't remember why he's there. He doesn't
No,
even remember this is the
like
19th century.
exactly. He thinks that his parents are probably already born. He thinks that his great grandparents should know who he is. He never had a chance. He never had a
No,
chance.
absolutely not.
So Thelma Bodkin reconvenes with the goons after they fail to eliminate Gadget on their first try.
Mhm.
And seeing that he has now met up with Char and Chimney, Thelma offers the goons triple the original amount if they're able to get to eliminate all three of the gadgets on their next attempt at the same time.
Okay.
And they're obviously happy to accept this as long as it doesn't get them in trouble with the bobbies. And but Thelma is still not like fully trusting the goons
Good
and their
call.
ability to succeed in this at all. Very good call on her part. So she decides to follow them for a bit from behind. Like she gives them a few steps,
Yeah.
ahead. And then she's like, all right, let me just make sure they don't fuck anything up. So they go to the pub. They follow the gadgets into the pub.
Mhm.
And we see the gadgets in there enjoying a pint. They're toasting to each other, just getting to know each other and enjoying each other's company. And the
Mhm.
Mad Goons then stumble on in only moments later. And they walk up immediately to Inspector Gadget. I think it's the short, stocky one in
Mhm.
particular. And they invite him in a game of rubber darts for a pound, Gov.
I'm putting another
I
pound of
had to
golf.
put the gov in there. I want to play a game of rubber darts for a pound, Gov. And
This is
it's
the
just
only
so
like slang that these writers thought they knew, or they're again making fun of
truly.
another country in Europe.
Probably. I think it's a little bit of both. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
think I know they say gov and
They
governor a
say gov
lot,
and
but
governor a
like
lot.
it's literally there's like a 5 minute span where they say it every 2 words. I'm not even kidding you, Grace. And I was like, oh my God, turn this into a drinking game. Well, I'll
Oh my
be
God.
booked.
It'll be fun.
So eventually, during this game of darts, because like I said, Gadget and Penny were playing darts earlier in the episode. So Gadget's like, hell yeah, let's go. I even brought my own special Gadget darts and he's playing. And the
Okay.
Mad Goon isn't super happy about this because he thinks he's cheating. And
I mean,
so
yeah, probably.
a fight arises between the two. So
Oh no.
typical, where this British goon literally picks Gadget up, twirls him over his head, and throws him through the pub window.
This is some Peaky Blinder shit.
Straight up. And I mean, truly, because this is a guy wearing like the Peaky Blinders hat too, I think.
Yes.
So, and everyone in the pub who sees this is just absolutely shocked. Like it just gets quiet and everyone's
Yeah.
like jaws drop, like, did you just throw a man through a
Oh
window?
shit.
What the fuck?
This
But
escalated.
they're even more shocked when they see mechanic robo spring
Oh,
legs like fling back into the restaurant and Gadget
sir.
like slings himself back
They're
in.
gonna burn you. They're gonna say
They're
you're a witch.
basically they're all now they look shocked and terrified. Before they were
Worse.
shocked
Much worse.
and confused, now they're shocked and scared.
Okay.
And so Gadget thinks that they're now playing some new kind of game, like, oh yeah, we're throwing each other through the window, right? This is so
Oh my
fun.
God.
So he goes right back up to this goon, picks him up, and throws him clear across the bar or the pub. Like, see, was
Damn.
that good? How many points do I
Did
get,
I?
guys?
It's like human darts.
We got it, yeah. And at this point, Char and Chimney kind of like look around the restaurant. They see the shattered glass everywhere. They see this goon like sprawl out, knocked over tables and pub glasses. And they walk up to Gadget like, we best be leaving now, eh, love?
It'll
We should probably
unless
get
with the
out of
bobbies
here.
here, we better.
As long as it keeps me out of trouble with the
With the
bobbies.
bobbies. He's still saying that in the corner, like rocking to
Yeah.
himself. This man's unwell.
No bobbies. No
This almost
bobbies.
keeps me out of trouble with the bobbies. Deeply disturbed.
And right as they're leaving the pub, a poor lady outside approaches them off the sidewalk, and she's like, want to buy some violets from a poor lady? And
Oh,
she
my fair
offers
lady in here, some Eliza
my
Doolittle. Oh, damn.
these were some very cultured writers, okay?
They were.
They know British culture more than anything.
You're
At
right. They're
least.
absolutely slaying
Yeah.
this. I'm impressed. Okay, great.
And she walks up to them and is like handing them a bouquet of violets that are for
Uh-huh.
sale. And Gadget happily takes a bouquet and says that it's probably a good idea for him to get these flowers now in case he's not around in time for Mother's Day so that he can give them to his
To
great
his great great
grandmother.
grandmother.
Yeah, there were a
Okay.
few degrees of
Okay.
separation there. I was watching it like, ugh, they're trying. These writers are
They're
trying.
they're trying something.
You
Okay.
know, it must be hard to put yourself in the mind of Gadget, though, to their credit.
That's
Like,
true. They're like, this idiot, what would he
you have
say
to
here?
think of the
This.
dumbest thing ever. Exactly. What would be the dumbest thing that someone could say in response to
Yes.
this?
And it's
That's
this.
what Gadget would say.
Correct.
So the family all leans in, the Gadget family all leans in to take a big whiff of this fresh bouquet of violets. And at
Hmm.
first, they really like the scent of them. They're like, ooh, that's so nice and lovely. And then a millisecond later, they all instantly collapse and faint.
Ah,
Well, kind of. They actually just like close their eyes and like collapse down to their knees and remain motionless, like on their
uh,
knees. It's a weird kind of fainting, but
all right though.
they're clearly fainted.
Okay.
But nonetheless, this happens because it was indeed Thelma Botkin who was
Hmm.
pretending to be this poor girl selling flowers outside of the pub.
Okay.
So my guess is that she gave them fake flowers that release some sort of paralyzing
Oh
gas or
yeah.
something like that, or like a sleeping gas. And so the Mad Goons, they have now snuck up onto the roof of a building next door to the pub, and they
Okay.
drop a net from the rooftop of that building onto the Gadget family, who is like collapsed on the
Okay.
sidewalk down below, and they hoist the net back up to the rooftop, like lifting it back up there so that
Mm.
they can now just torture, I guess, the Gadgets and eliminate them
Take them
on
away.
the roof of
Okay.
this building out of sight.
Hey,
Yeah, of yeah.
this is the closest they've ever gotten to actually
So
eliminating
far,
Gadget. Like,
I think so.
they've never actually gotten him in their clutches like this before. So
Mm-mm.
this is a big statement on technology. They used all this other tech and crazy shit in the modern episodes, and they just
Hmm.
needed a net.
All this time, a
A
net
net
and a
and a little bit of
roof.
poison.
Exactly. And some poisonous
Classic.
flowers. That's it. You know, it's super
Okay.
easy, actually. Well, but the situation, it's actually not as easy or as dire for the Gadgets as it may
Mm.
seem, because by the time that they are or lifted up to the roof of this building, the paralyzing gas seems to have worn off because they're totally awake.
Oh,
They're up
oh,
on this roof now, like, wow, what a view. This is crazy. So it must have been a really weak dosage, or like maybe
yeah.
Thelma, she can do time travel, okay?
Yeah. She's not a
She can't do
poisoner.
poison concoctions.
Yeah,
Exactly. She
that's someone
got it
else's job.
wrong. It took him out for a second, but clearly not long enough.
Hmm.
And look, these mad goons, in addition to the poison just wearing off, these goons are also really dumb. So they're outnumbered.
Yeah,
It's 2-3 right now.
yeah.
Two goons, three gadgets. And they still decide to take the net off of the no longer paralyzed targets. Again, one of which is a police cyborg from the
Robot.
future. And they decide, let's just take them hand to hand. We got this.
Oh,
The
they
tussle
forgot that
that
one just got
ensues
thrown across the bar. He already forgot that
and
happened to
hopped
him.
right back up. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Oh, yeah, the goon got
And
thrown
then the
across the
goon
bar.
got
Like,
thrown.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like, did you
out
see
of
what
his
happened
memory
last time
though.
you tried a hand-to-hand combat, bro?
Not great. Didn't go great.
Did you? No, yeah, didn't go great.
Okay.
So the tussle that ensues between all of these goons and the whole Gadget family is chaotic. It's just one of those like
Hmm.
dust balls of them like
Yeah.
rolling around on this roof. But eventually the Gadgets are able to ski themselves off to safety because Gadget has like ski legs basically,
Yeah.
and he's able to
Okay.
scoop up his great grandparents, slide down the roof, and hop to the
Mm,
next couple buildings over. And the goons somehow get caught in the net that the Gadgets were originally trapped in, and
classic.
they are now caught in this net, caught in this net, stuck on top of this roof,
And Phil
as
doesn't give a shit
expected.
about them.
Well, not only does she not give a shit, but she also doesn't even know that they failed. Like she assumes that, oh, they're in the net. They were still unconscious when I saw them up there. So she
Oh.
doesn't know that the poison gas wore off. She doesn't know that
Oh,
the
the
goons just got their
goons didn't
asses
get
handed to them and that the
them.
Gadgets all got away. So she's just like,
Okay.
all right, yeah, cool. We're good. I'm on
Nailed
to
it.
my next part of the mission,
Okay.
which we will get to in just a moment. But before that, all of the Gadgets, they go back to Char and Chimney's home where they can like kind of just hide out for a minute, stay safe, and
Yeah.
just rest for a second after this chaos that they've just gone through. And Inspector Gadget, while he's in there, he like takes the invitation into their home very literally. Like he takes a bath, he's freshening up his clothes,
How?
he's
So
like
you have
walking
four
around.
hours. You're down to like an hour, 90 minutes by now.
By now, yeah. He's like
Tops.
walking around their house like shirtless and just his pants with like a towel around his neck. Like, oh, you guys sure you don't want to take a bath too? Like just me? Really?
Good kind of got
Okay.
scuffed up on that roof there. You could use a shower.
Their chimney sweeps, they're always dirty. They're
They
like,
don't know
oh, this is
anything
nothing.
else.
Yeah, this is how
Oh,
we
we're pretty
normally
clean right
look.
now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and it's hilarious because as he's like asking his great grandparents, like, you guys sure you don't want a bath? Like, you sure you don't want to like freshen up or whatever? And they're like, oh no, we're good, Gov.
Go.
And Gadget's another use of the word gov, and
Another one.
Gadget's like, I'm not a governor, I'm a police inspector. And then you just see him like look at the camera like, oh shit, I'm on duty right now. I think he like literally like says like yikes or like zoinks or something like
The first
oops.
time he's ever realized he had a job to do.
So I
Ever.
present to you, Grace, and to our audience, I believe our second or third lucid moment from Inspector
It's like our
Gadget.
only our third, I think.
Yeah, during this entire arc where he now remembers, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be on the job right now,
Oh
and at
my
least two
God.
hours have gone by in this 4 hour mission.
Incredible.
So he then tells his great grandparents that he's supposed to be thwarting a plot to steal the crown jewels, which really surprises his great grandparents. Like, who would want to steal those? Which clearly they do not
Everyone.
listen to the news because
Yeah.
everyone, everywhere, they probably want to. And his great grandparents, though, at this point, they also seem like they're willing to help him because Gadget says, do
Okay.
you know? I think he specifically says, do you know any mad agents? He
I
doesn't just say
mean,
like, do you have any idea where I might look for like someone who would want to steal these? Like, do you know the
what,
specific terrorist organization's
or yeah, like,
agents
or like,
and where
how
can
do I
I
get
find
to the
them?
Tower of London from your
Yeah,
flat here? Like, how do I get
yeah.
there at least?
Not
But
even that. Just no. Do you know mad
yeah.
agents
And
who
the
might want to do
lucid
this?
moment comes and goes
It's
so
gone.
swiftly.
so
bleeding.
swiftly, and it gets even further away in just a second
Oh
because his
no.
great grandparents are like,
No.
oh, of course, like surprisingly, they actually do seem to know. I don't think they know what he means by mad agents. This whole thing is like lost in translation, right? They're
Yeah.
like, we don't know what he's saying, but he's funny, the gov. We love this
Yeah, we
guy.
love this
And
governor.
so they're like, sure, yeah, like we are known as the king and queen of the roofs out around these parts.
Oh
So they're
God.
like, we know
Okay.
exactly where to take you. And Gadget says, okay, well, before we go, let me just press my coat real quick.
Oh my, really?
Seriously. He's like, I just need to press my coat. And he goes over to a place where you press a coat in 19th century London, and it's
Uh-huh.
not like the iron that he pulls out of his head.
Uh-huh.
He can't use that. So he's like, oh, never mind. Maybe I'll just shave a little bit instead. And so he pulls out a razor and he's like, where can I plug this in?
Ah,
And
there
they're
it
like,
is.
oh,
Yep.
no. Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, this is what you might be looking for, Gov. And they give him like
The
one of those
blade.
actual razors. Yeah, the
Yeah.
blade razors. And he's like, yikes, I don't want to use that. And he says, how about I just brush my teeth? But it's the same thing. He has an electric toothbrush, I
Oh my
guess, which is
God.
kind of seems ahead of the times, by the way, for the early 80s, right? Did they have
Yeah.
this then? I
It
don't
also isn't a
know. I'd
battery?
have to look. It is. Well, so mine I plug in, but it like maintains a battery for a while. Like I have to
Yeah.
charge it like every couple weeks, but
Yeah.
this is 40 years later too.
Yeah.
So I don't
I
know
got a
what
lot
it
of
was like back
questions,
then.
including how much
Yeah.
time has now passed and been lost again.
Exactly. Another
My
30
main
minutes probably since
question.
he realized he was on duty. Yeah, he's got
Yes.
45 minutes left to solve
And
this
have you
mystery.
seen the traffic in ye old London?
Yo, in London. Do you know how many cobblestone streets he has to hop over and
Hobble
horses he
through.
has to get by, cobble through?
Yoy.
Yeah. So after this, after he's not able to plug any of his stuff in, he's like, man, my electric devices really don't have any place in this 19th century world. Like, this is
Nope.
not going to work out. But meanwhile, we very, very concerningly see through that good old DCCTV that Dr. Claw is watching Gadget and his great grandparents inside their home, Grace. He has video footage, video surveillance inside their home.
If a 19th century Londoner saw that, the
They
world
would
would be over.
freak out.
Yes.
Exactly. Like,
Oh
how
no.
did he get that there?
I
Because
guess he
it would
already
be
went. He already went back
him and
and
Thelma
set it
went and
up.
like, I
That's how they
guess
knew that he had these great
who they were.
grandparents.
Yeah, yeah, and he's been following them and yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
don't
how Thelma
know.
knew to be like on the docks of the Thames because that's where
Because
they
that's where he
lived
walked
and he had that
by.
intel and I guess, but
Yeah, I guess. But
that's freaking crazy. But at the same
where's he
time,
plugging that
Gadget can't
into?
even plug in a toothbrush. Thank
Yes.
you.
This
So
shit's
how is
solar
this
powered. This shit's fog powered.
somehow, somehow?
Claw's using renewable energy for sure.
Oh no. Is he actually the hero then?
We already knew that.
This is true. This is
We've
old
talked about
news.
this.
So, yeah, Dr. Claw, though, is very upset to see that not only is Gadget still alive, but that his great grandparents are too. He really thought that by now Thelma would be able to get the job done and have them all eliminated. So
Mhm.
he calls Thelma immediately
So
and
they got
tells her that
service.
they got service. It's like a video chat, the usual thing. They got, yeah,
Okay,
So
yeah.
they have also installed all this DCCTV into the Tower of London as well, as we will see in just a
Okay.
moment. That is where she now is. But
Okay.
he calls her and says that he tells her that the Gadgets are still alive, to which she's like, but I paid top dollar. And Claude just says, well, pay more and finish
Damn.
the job. It's like, you may have
Yeah.
paid top dollar, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, it clearly wasn't top dollar.
hmm And to that end, she also, Thelma, has clearly not learned anything from her previous mistakes because she enlists the help of the exact same two stupid goons to go get the Gadgets. I don't know how they got out of the net on the roof, but they
Boys
somehow
tumbled
did.
off.
They probably did. Broke some bones in the process. They're
Yeah,
in perfect shape to get this job done.
great.
And so you're probably wondering by now, or at some point it's probably crossed your mind, where is Penny and when is the
Yeah.
actual investigation into
Yes, I
saving these
have
crown
been
jewels
wondering
going
that
to
often, in
begin?
fact.
Yes.
What
So,
is
as per
happening?
usual, we like to separate the real investigation from whatever the fuck
The
Gadget is
sham.
doing. So now we'll talk about Penny, who has been at the Tower of London. She has arrived there quite a while ago, and she is
Okay.
now ready to protect the crown jewels. And
Mm.
Brain has also infiltrated the Yeoman Warders, aka the
Oh,
Beef Eaters.
got his little outfit on.
He's got his outfit on. He's doing his little stomping and
Oh my
saluting at
God.
attention and everything.
So
And even
cute.
like the other guards that are on duty are falling for it. They think that he's there to relieve them of their duties. So they're like, perfect, I can go inside and warm up.
Amazing.
Thank you, officer. Salute and then rock
Oh,
off. And he's like
amazing.
standing at attention at this big
Just
gate
being a
leading
good
to the
boy.
tower or to the London Tower. I was going to say the Tower Bridge. Good God. But most importantly, he's able to obviously keep close tabs on anyone who comes in and out of the building while
Yep.
Penny is inside research or, doing some reconnaissance, looking for these crown jewels, trying to stop
Hmm.
Mad from stealing them.
Cool.
And as Brain is standing guard outside, he sees who he at first thinks is the Queen making her grand entrance into the tower.
Okay.
And he gives his salute. He stands at attention and gives his salute to her, and she nods in approval. But he does a double take when he sees that the Queen's scepter has a Mad logo on it.
Okay. Y'all need
And
to. There's one thing
be
for
a little
product
more clever.
placement, but come on.
Exactly. Now's not the time
Not
to
like
flaunt your
this.
brand, Dr.
Yeah.
Claw. There's better
This is not
times.
where you want to be influencing.
So Brain obviously immediately recognized this and calls Penny to tell her that a mad agent is disguising herself as the queen and that she
Mm.
just walked into the tower. And of course, this mad agent in disguise is Thelma Bodkin.
Hmm.
And so she walks through the Tower of London. She goes through like the drawbridge and everything. And she passes by a couple of guards who are actually carrying the crown jewels on like the
The
ornamental
pillow.
pillow or
Uh-huh.
whatever through the building. And she stops them and says, like, what's going on? And they tell her that they're just going to take these jewels to have them cleaned up and prepared for her upcoming birthday party. It's going to
Oh,
be
a birthday
it's going to be a
party.
high affair. We're going to have a lot of fun at your birthday party. And so Thelma's like, ah, very good. Or the queen is like, very
Mm.
good. Carry on. And she just kind of like stops and thinks like, yeah, this isn't horrible because it gives me like, I'll just wait until they put him back. Like they're going to bring him
Yeah,
back later probably. So I'll just steal him from Dr. Claw later. I guess she does not have the same time constraints on
4 hour.
time travel as
Hmm.
like Gadget and all of them do.
Hmm.
So as she's kind of like thinking through this, like reshaping her plan and her plot to steal these jewels, she
Hmm.
spots Penny sneaking around corners of this
Uh-oh.
Tower of London. And she does recognize her as Gadget's niece. I assume because, like I said, this is the end of that 3 episode arc that
Oh,
she's
yeah.
in. So I'm sure
She's
that
been
by now
around.
she's very familiar. Exactly. So she spots her like, ah, it's Gadget's niece. I gotta get her. She attacks and kidnaps Penny yet again,
Oh,
basically just as violent as my last episode. I
oh
think was that my
no.
yeah, which
Yeah,
also
your
had a
last
lot to
one.
do with time and clocks, which is funny because
Yeah,
this
oh,
is
yeah, that
all
is funny.
about that too, kind of messing with my brain. And she locks Penny up in like the pillory and stocks in a dungeon underneath the frickin' tower. So
And
like
she's
her
only got
hands and heads are through
20
this
minutes
thing,
left.
but it's like a metal one, not even a wooden one. Like this
Oh
thing looks
no.
heavy. Yes. And it's
Oh
like violent the
no.
way she's locking her in and Penny's like
Clangs are
trying to
in there.
squeeze out of it.
Oh my
Yeah, but
God.
like looks like she's in pain.
Oh
Yes, perfect for
no.
children. But
Perfect.
it's so funny though, because Penny, she doesn't play innocent for that long. Okay.
Uh-huh.
She's like, oh wow, this is so scary. Oh no. And Thelma's like, that should hold you. And she leaves. And
Uh-huh.
literally shortly after Thelma leaves, the clock strikes again.
Oh
And Penny
no.
is like, oh shit, even less time to get this mission done. No time to waste. So she just like activates a laser on her watch that breaks the lock,
Oh hell yeah, Penny.
breaks the lock off of this pillory and just lifts the
That's
metal frame
cool.
off of her shoulders
Oh
because this girl has
shit.
clearly been doing some deadlifts.
I was gonna say she lifts. Hits the gym. Oh
Penny squats
shit.
and lifts like 220, probably, this little 10-year-old girl. because she just fucking pushes this shit off and runs
She's had
out to
to move
freedom.
Gadget's unconscious body so many times. This is
It's
easy.
basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh
And as
shit.
she's
Hell yeah.
as she as she's running out of this dungeon, and also let's not skim past the fact that she has a laser on her watch. And just
Yeah.
again, I have
A
to
10-year-old girl.
a 10-year-old. I could not get past that. I literally just like stopped and laughed when she did that. Like, of course she has that. Of course.
Why
Why
wouldn't
wouldn't
we
she?
think that already?
So she calls Brain as soon as she gets out of this pillory and she tells him to watch after Gadget, to go back and find him and keep an eye on him
Mm,
because she knows at this point that the Mad Goons are definitely, they have to be on his tail and time is also
yeah.
running out. They've got like one
Yeah.
or 2 hours left to go. So she leaves the Tower of London after this and she goes because she also saw that the guards were taking the crown jewels,
Oh
or I
yeah.
should say St. Edward's crown in particular is what we're talking
Indeed.
about here. She saw that the guards took them, and so she knows that they're not currently in the jewel house.
Yeah.
So she's like, I have an idea. Brain, you go take care of Gadget. I'm gonna run into town. She goes to a little shop in the
Mhm.
town. She buys a set of fake jewels that she
Okay.
is now going to put in place of the real crown jewels to trick Mad slash
Into
Thelma
taking those.
into taking. Exactly.
Okay.
The beefeaters will have no, the beefeaters, don't worry about them.
They're not
She'll let
allowed to
them know.
look at the riches. They just
Exactly.
carry them, but averse
Exactly.
their eyes.
They cannot look, so they will not know that it's fake as well. So
Okay.
when Thelma then walks in to the jewel house, she'll see the jewels and she excitedly will rush up to them and scoop them. And this is what happens. We like kind of see the whole montage go
Uh-huh.
down. She rushes in, she scoops them up, and she's like, the party must have ended early. I wasn't expecting them to be here yet.
Mm.
But she doesn't really look much at them. I guess she's like those
Yeah.
beef eaters. She just kind of picks them up, sees they're in there, and she goes. And so Penny,
Okay.
after she's put them down there, she's like hiding behind a big column or something in this jewel house, and she's just
Uh-huh.
laughing like
Dummy.
Dr. Claw's gonna be pissed when he sees what those jewels really are. He's
Those
gonna hate her
idiot.
so much. Yeah. So she's like happy that that worked out, or that that seems to have worked out. And she
Uh-huh.
checks in with Brain again to see how things now are going with Inspector
Uh-huh.
Gadget. And Brain tells her that it's basically going exactly as we'd all
As it
expect.
left it.
Very badly.
Yes.
Very badly. Because at this very moment, those mad goons, those poor little Brit men, Gadget, Char, and Chimney are all engaged in an all-out game of like tag on the
Oh,
roofs of these London homes
oh
where
God.
they're like hiding in people's chimneys, accidentally falling into different chimneys,
Oh no.
scaling these roofs of various houses and just hopping from house to house.
Absolute havoc.
And I'm just going to leave it at that basically, but I will say that when you watch this, you are very much going to appreciate a scene that the writers and animators threw into this whole
Yes.
rooftop chase
Uh-huh.
that just it's hilarious, but it also just seems so out of place for this show. Like I
Uh-huh.
felt like I was watching a clip from a different show that they just kind of like pasted into this episode
Uh-huh.
because basically we just see like a family eating supper as Gadget falls into their chimney and they're like trying to figure out what it is. Like he doesn't fall all the way through it. He's like
Mm.
halfway through it and all of this like ash and smoke comes out of it. And they're like,
Uh-huh.
is there something in the chimney? And they send their little son like, Derek, go see what's in the chimney. And he looks up the chimney like, there's something in there. And the family is just like, oh, I'm sure that your mother just burnt dinner again. And the mother is like, excuse me. It's so strange. And like in the real world would actually be a really scary thing if like your little son ran over to a
There's
chimney during
someone
dinner,
in the
like, there's something
chimney.
in there. He didn't even say someone, he just said, there's something in
And
there, and
then
then starts
the
poking it.
reaction is for your husband to insult you.
To be fair, I think the husband insulted her beforehand, but still, it's just like you see all this like smoke come out of the chimney, and the husband's like, "Mother must be burning supper again," or something like that. It's just
Damn.
like, Derek, go look at what's in there. Shove that
Derek.
shit in your father's face.
Yeah, exactly. Derek Sr., you go climb up that chimney.
You go do it. Exactly. So anyway, just You'll get a kick out of that because it's like the
Great.
animation seems different too. Like it feels like it's from an anime show in a weird way. It's just there's
I
so much
cannot
going
wait
on with it. And I was like, I don't have time to like say the
to
whole
figure out the
scene,
fuck
scene
this
for
is.
scene, but just watch it. You'll enjoy it. And
Amazing.
eventually, anyways, the goons are able to capture Gadget, but they can't quite get their hands on Char and Chimney because again, these are the king and queen of the roofs, so they know
Mm,
how to get away from some folks and
yeah.
hide on a roof.
They're puffing
So
those
they take
smokes like puffs of ash. They can't tell
exactly right
where they
everywhere.
are,
Boom,
what's just the
boom.
puff.
Can do. You can find me.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the goons take their odds. They're like, whatever, fuck it. We've got Gadget. So they take him and they like dump him into a horse and carriage and they make their way down these cobblestone streets.
Mhm.
And at this exact moment, as Char and Chimney are watching this horse and carriage go away, they're like, oh, what do you think they want with the gov? We better go figure something out. Brain like pops up on the roof with them and is like trying to convince Char and Chimney to follow him to go save Gadget.
Mm.
And they're like, well, we can't really understand his Yankee accent, but he must know something about the gov, so we better follow him. Like,
Amazing.
so they decide to follow him. And I'd say that they chase this carriage for maybe like, I don't know, one, maybe two city blocks before Gadget wakes up from like the coma he was in from falling off the
Uh-huh.
roof and just absolutely causes the entire carriage to wreck. Like everyone, thankfully, except for the horse, is like caught in the rubble of this carriage,
Oh
like
my God.
exploding on the cobblestone streets of London.
And Gadget probably did not even mean to explode it. And yet,
He did not. He
and
absolutely
yet.
did not. And yet that carriage was exploded. He like flings it across the city street or something
Oh
because
my
he's trying
God.
to like hold on to some lampposts to like stop the carriage for Char and Chimney. And
Oh
it like
no.
catapults down into the street. The goons are now just trapped under a pile of wooden planks and carriage wheels and wreckage.
Oil
And
lamps being
Gadget
knocked over onto it.
probably fire soon to just engulf the entire
Oncoming.
street.
Yeah.
And Gadget is just like meeting back up with his family now. He's like, oh, hey, you guys caught up with me and you got Brain too. That's awesome.
Oh my
And a
God.
police officer, the Bobbies,
The
is
bullies have come.
nearby. The Bobbies are here and they see all of this. So at
Mm,
this point, though, they see the goons underneath all of this rubble and everything. And they're
yeah.
just like, okay, these must be the perpetrators. So they arrest them. And of
Oh,
course, that goon is like, oh no, we
you
got
got
caught by
puppies.
the Bobby.
Oh, this poor man.
Which in hindsight, maybe these writers did hate the Brits because they make them look pretty stupid and like they only know 5 words,
The
basically.
bobbies
So
and government, and that's it.
gov, bobbies,
Both
and
bullies.
that's
That's
about it. And
it.
yeah, that's it. So Penny at this point has caught up now with Gadget and Brain and Char and Chimney. So she runs up and tells them, like, hey, we only have like 5 minutes to get back to the time machine. We need to go right now. And so the gang
Mm.
makes their way back to the docks where they left the time machine, or where they thought they left the time machine. When they get back, and this one is all on
Yes.
Penny, honestly, this is all
Yeah.
on her.
Some by the docks, like shipping docks near some boxes
In crates.
in
Yeah,
crates. Yeah,
exactly.
this one is on you, Penny.
This is all on Penny because, yeah, they can't find the time machine anywhere or any of those crates and
Oh
boxes, like you
no.
called out, that
Hey,
Penny cleverly, quote unquote, put in
nope.
front of the time machine to conceal it from the naked eye. As it turns out, as Penny finds out after like checking the tracking device in her computer book that it obviously
Uh-huh.
has, she realizes that the time machine has been loaded onto a barge that is way over there going down the river as we currently
Oh,
speak.
so it's gone.
It's
So
gone.
that barge is about to land in
Could you
Metro City.
imagine if that's how it worked? That would be insane. And like
The
a whole barge
huge
just
barge.
lands on the Metro City Police Department.
All of these 19th century like shipmen just screaming.
But it's like a combination of just shock from crashing a barge out of nowhere on land, and then they look and see it's like the year 1980,
Or they see
whatever, and you're like,
electricity.
yeah. Just absolute chaos and havoc. So thankfully, though, Inspector Gadget is able to use his gadget copter to fly himself, Penny, and Brain over to the barge, so they're able to make it there just in the nick of time. And
Mm.
as they're starting to take off, they give their British ancestors one last wave goodbye. And Gadget tells them to say hello to his mom and dad for
No,
him.
no, do not do that, Chimney and Char. Do
Don't
not
do
do
that.
that.
Don't do that. Don't tell them about this crazy man. If you tell them about him, they're not going to have kids. Like,
I mean,
they're
maybe
going to be
this
like, oh
is
shit.
this is all the butterfly effect. This somehow led to
Yeah.
Gadget's accident. This somehow led to Gadget being an idiot. This all.
Yes.
Okay.
This is where it begins. This is where it begins. It's like,
Yep.
and I'm almost done with this episode, so I will just do a very quick tangent and nerd out about Futurama real quick. There's the
Yes.
classic, one of the greatest episodes of that show is when he goes back to the past and he does Fry does what he calls the nasty and the pasty and becomes his
Yeah.
own grandfather.
Yes.
Say, and it leads him to like lacking some brainwave that now makes him like the key to like unlocking the universe because he's actually
Yes,
so
he's like a
stupid because he is
genius.
his own grandfather.
Yes.
Yes. This is basically what happened to Inspector Gadget. He went back
Yes.
in the past. He didn't literally do the nasty in the pasty, thankfully, but like he fucked something up and now he's an idiot for it, in
Yes.
addition
He
to
was a
like
genius. Accident happened.
yeah,
Now an idiot.
now this, and on top of becoming a cyborg, also made him just way dumber. And here we
Yep.
are today. So yes.
Correct.
Char and Chimney are definitely a bit weirded out by Inspector Gadget as he says goodbye, but at the end
Yes.
they wish him the best because they know that somehow he's related to them. I don't
Yeah.
think they quite understand the time traveling of it all, but
Hopefully
they're like,
not.
he's some sort of distant cousin or some sort of
Yeah, he's
family
in
member.
America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Came back
And
over.
this is maybe what inspired them to go to America.
Well, hey, I'm
Hmm.
about to go find him again.
It's maybe not the best ambassador, but
No.
anyways, Gadget, Penny, and Brain thankfully make it back to the time machine in literally the nick of time. It's like on the bottom level of this barge. They
Great.
hop into it, and thankfully, only the time machine transports,
Okay.
not the entire barge.
Good clarification.
So
Good
it's just them.
clarification.
But God, that would be so fucking hilarious if it was the other way around. In my mind, it is that way now because that's just too funny. And so back at the Metro City Police Department headquarters, Chief Quimby thanks Gadget for doing the job, getting it done once again. And Gadget's like, "Thank you, Chief Quimby, but I'll say this mission taught me a valuable lesson." And and Quimby and Penny are all like, "Yeah, what is that? Tell us." And he
Tell me.
says, "Please tell me, you learned
Tell me.
something?" He says, "The next time I go to 19th century London,
Hmm.
I'm bringing a long extension cords because plugs are very hard to find over there."
You're not ever going back. We're never letting you go back.
And I gotta say, that's a plug for our YouTube channel because the way Grace just pushed her glasses up in like frustration at that sentence,
So
that's how
mad.
we're all feeling right now. That was a glasses push to like hell for Gadget.
This fucking
You were just
guy.
saying, get this guy off my fucking screen right now. This fucking guy.
Get out of my life.
And to wrap up the episode,
Wow.
later that evening or sometime, we
Uh,
assume, Thelma Bodkin delivers the crown jewels
uh-oh.
to Dr.
Forgot
Claw,
about that.
telling him that, well, you know, we didn't eliminate the gadgets, but I did at least get you the jewels. And look, we know Dr. Claw knows his jewelry.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is a true connoisseur of jewels and gemstones. So
Yes.
he takes one freaking look at these
No.
jewels. I swear, maybe 1 second of a look. He looks down and he immediately realizes that them shits are fake. And so he throws the crown down on the ground of his castle and it obviously just like shatters and breaks into a
Yeah,
bunch
it's
of pieces.
plastic. I guess
and
I'm
tells
lost.
Thelma that she has failed him. And so Thelma, his anger not only scares her, but also Mad Cat, who like
Oh
jumps on
shit.
Thelma's back, and the two of them run out of this big, whatever creepy
Yikes,
room that Dr.
castle.
Claw is in.
Yeah.
And Dr. Claw just is like banging his fist on the table that he's at.
Uh-huh.
And he's saying like how angry he is that Gadget is always able to survive and defeat him in any occasion, in any plot. And he vows that Gadget will not be so lucky the next time. The end.
Wow, what a perfect ending line to the whole arc.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Wow,
Dr.
great
Claw,
job.
his love-hate relationship with Gadget continues on into
Continues.
infinity.
Wow. I
Mm.
can't wait to meet Char and Chimney just to see more Gadget relations,
You
who are
know?
somehow 19th century chimney sweeps, which means they probably are not well off. Could they read? Probably not. And yet
Probably not.
smarter than Inspector
Than the Mad
Gadget.
Agents and Inspector Gadget. Much smarter
And the Mad
than
Agents,
Inspector
but also
Gadget.
Inspector Gadget. Yes.
Yes, yes. And
Wow, great
so
job.
thank you. Thank you very much. Apparently in one of those other time traveling episodes, they hunt down some other distant ancestor
Oh, uh-huh.
of Gadget. So it's like interesting to see the Gadget family timeline in some ways. I think
Okay.
they're skipping some generations somewhere in there,
That
but
makes
whatever.
sense.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's a cartoon about a
Yeah.
cyborg man who is an
Who's time
absolute
traveling?
idiot and somehow is a police inspector, but actually it's his
Yes.
10-year-old niece and his dog who are the real
Yes.
inspectors. So
So
what do
why are
you,
we
I mean,
asking
come on. It's
questions?
exactly. Thank
Come
you.
on.
And yeah, that's the way that we're going to wrap up this arc of Inspector Gadget and
Beautiful.
all
A
of our,
clean sweep at the end,
thank
I
you.
would
A
say.
clean sweep indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Marvelous.
And so it's been great. We've had a lot of fun
We have.
speculating about these characters. Probably we'll
Yes.
do more episodes, probably in like a holiday arc or something. I,
Yeah.
I saw some in there that might be good for a certain holiday. So
Perfect.
we won't say goodbye forever to Inspector
Yes.
Gadget, just goodbye for now.
For now.
And until then, Grace, and until we start our new show, which, like Grace said, we already know we're very excited
Yes.
about. We think y'all will also be excited about. Until then,
Hmm.
next week, who should the listeners and viewers tell about this show?
I think you should tell Chimney Sweep.
Mm-hmm.
They still
Yeah.
exist. If you've got
Should
a
have
real
saw that coming.
fireplace, yeah, you gotta keep that clean. Every year or so, get someone to go clean it out, or I guess do it yourself if you want. But tell Chimney
Yeah.
Sweep.
Mhm.
And who should they
Yeah.
tell after that?
After that, you should tell a rower because the
And the
Thames has all
Thames.
sorts of regattas on it.
Amazing. Wow,
Yeah.
how have we not done that yet?
Yeah, I know. That's why I like paused for a second because I was like, have we not done
I
that?
don't
We
I don't
haven't.
think
I'm
we
gonna say it. I don't
have.
think we have. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
good one.
Because
Nice.
we know nothing about rowing on this
We
podcast,
know
so why would
no
we be
rowers who we
talking
could
about it?
possibly tell about
Yeah,
this. None
never. This is so
whatsoever.
hard.
What am I gonna
So,
tell? Wow,
yeah.
amazing.
So, yeah. So, thanks for joining us on this arc and for sticking
Yeah,
with us. Like,
yeah,
subscribe, comment, review,
yep,
send us an
yep,
email.
yep.
Thanks to those of you who have been commenting and engaging with the videos lately. It's been great.
Yes.
Giving us all sorts of new theories and whatnot on these shows that we're covering. And it's also just very fun to hear from you all. Sorry, if I will just get on
Yeah.
a soapbox for a second,
No, do it.
because
I'm pushing
yeah,
that soapbox over for you.
thank you. Let me get up.
That's really
Stand
heavy.
up on here. Thank you. It's heavy. Oh my God, I'm gonna trip on it. But really, no, we've been getting more subscribers and followers on YouTube and some on
Mhm,
Instagram and like, even just podcast downloads. It's all fun to see because we've been at this
mhm.
for a while now. And so it's just good to see like
Yeah,
more people joining our little corner of the internet and like
yeah,
speculating with us on these awesome shows. And also just like the whole reason we do this is because we love the nostalgia of it all and like
mhm.
the good memories that come with growing up with a lot of these shows. So it's just cool to like
Yeah,
hear y'all's good memories and nostalgia too. So like thank you
yeah,
for joining us on it. And we're excited to keep it going. And hopefully
yeah.
you guys enjoy the next show too. So yeah,
Yes, yeah,
keep
we think you
following
will.
around.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we love
And
y'all.
until then,
Bye.
bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.